But okay, so as far as cancellation is concerned, we're also talking about wait, what were we talking about? There was another thing we talked. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is going to be a little bit of a history that we have to explain for people who might not know, right? So it was during. I remember one time I posted on Facebook, and then you never gave me your opinion on it, but you did mention podcast, meaning we need to talk about it on our podcast eventually, right? Which I said, the people who are, and this is in relation to cancel culture, right? Because cancel culture is one of those things that is just kind of like, and I'm sure you agree with me, Zeno. It's kind of one of those like, sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's toxic. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like it makes sense, like canceling what's his name? What's the homosexual guy who's gotten banned from Twitter and
Milo Yiannopoulos or
whatever. Yeah, canceling him makes sense because he's just completely a person who has he's basically done the gay equivalence of cooning for the right.
Yeah.
At the detriment of his own
community.
Yeah. Right?
You're cooning for the party that is actively taking rights away from other people in your community.
Yes,
just because they've accepted you into their little bubble.
And this is the thing I have, because I mentioned this on Facebook just recently, because somebody was talking about the judge, the Supreme Court judge nominee that's up right now. What's her name?
Amy Coney Barrett.
They were talking about with her about like, this is the problem with women is, and I actually can read it. It's a Twitter post that somebody wrote, and I actually have it right now. And it says, women who carry water for patriarchy just so they can have a slightly longer leash and stand a few rungs up in oppression from other women, particularly marginalized women, makes me a special kind of angry. Being master's favorite dog is still having a master and still being a dog.
Damn.
That's
damn.
Deep. By the way, that's by at Allison R. Floyd on Twitter. So if you want to give her a follow, like, feel free.
Yeah, damn.
And then the thing is, somebody posted that is like, somebody mentioned Candace Owen. They were like, this is why as a Black woman, Candace Owen and her like make me so angry because of that. And I said, I feel the same way about MAGA Hispanics, Make America Great Again Hispanics. Mm-hmm. It's like, look, they've tricked you to make you think because you're pushing their agenda, they're happy, but you're not part of their agenda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the Civil War happens, you're getting left behind.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you might blend in because you're a very white Cuban and you'll blend in and they'll think that you're one of them. But someone like myself who would be cooning for, like she said, holding water for the patriarchy. If I'm doing that, they're gonna leave me behind because then I was like, he ain't one of us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like when Trump was like, "Oh, my African American." That particular dude. First of all, every now and then Trump gives you an insight into his way of thinking, because that my African American is basically, it's essentially, that, oh, I have a Black friend, I'm not racist, that kind of BS. That dude is the first guy that will get left behind if, oh, there's not enough seats on this boat, whites only. Bye, dude. They're not going to remember that he was out there for Trump at a MAGA rally and all that stuff. They only care for you as long as you're useful to them. And that's what a lot of these people don't understand. Candace Owens, I believe she's a grifter. As soon as the Democratic Party becomes something that is lucrative for her, she'll all of a sudden become a liberal again.
And you know what? Her and I don't know much about the twins. I forget who they are.
The Hodge twins, or I don't know.
Nobody cares about them. Yeah. And then there's also another guy. I forget his name. He's a MAGA rapper.
Yeah. I saw one of his videos. Trash. At least if you're gonna be a MAGA rapper, like, make it good. Like, do something.
It's just like, one, it's first of all, people who are from your community, they know you're full of shit and you're not serious about this stuff. They really do know. It's just like you're following the green.
Yeah.
You could tell Candace Owens is not, like, honestly, I sense absolutely no passion behind her.
Yeah.
On her words. You got T.I. to kind of destroy you on that one platform that you had. And then Killer Mike went and basically, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It was like
I
a
know what you're
platform,
talking about.
and then
Yes.
Killer Mike just basically said, "Okay, now y'all need to shut up and let an adult talk to every
Yeah.
single person on there
Yeah.
because he just killed him or whatever."
So
But yeah,
I do want to say something about cancellation, right? Because you said you might agree with me. I actually don't agree about, some people need to get canceled. I think Milo definitely deserves to be deplatformed, right?
okay,
Because
I can
he
get that.
was, yeah, no, because there were a lot of actually dangerous things he was saying on his social media platforms that were an actual danger to certain marginalized groups, and for that you should be deplatformed. I don't. I think having a contrarian opinion shouldn't get you canceled. If someone if Chris Pratt is a very good example. Chris Pratt is someone that is very religious, um, but because of his like super religious stance and things, he's kind of come out on the wrong end of some interviews that might deal with LGBTQ rights, right? Because his particular church that he follows, they're like,
Hillsong United sings a lot of. They have a lot of great Christian songs. I listen to their Christian songs, but like you said, a lot of the part of their platforms is just trash. It really is.
yeah,
It's very demarginal and unapologetic.
yeah. So his church, they can be anti-LGBTQ. They're unapologetic about it. He tries to be a little more diplomatic about it, but it still doesn't come to the level of straight up being like, yeah, I am with you regardless of your, sexual orientation or whatever. So there are a lot of people out there trying to cancel Chris Pratt. In my opinion, I can disagree with the guy, but if he's called for a certain role and what he's delivering is what the role requires, hire the guy. I don't care what his
Yeah.
politics are.
No, and I can agree with you on that. I actually don't disagree with you on that. I think maybe we should have defined what canceling means, because I don't even think Chris Pratt's platform should be removed.
Yeah,
Honestly,
because he hasn't said anything overtly
yeah, it's just people
anti,
are automatically associating him with that thing. And don't get me
because it's
wrong,
part of that church. Yeah,
I'm personally on my own level, I'm kind of dealing with a little bit of that in myself, because the fact of the matter is I hate single issue voters, people who like, look, you are in disagreement with Donald Trump completely about everything, about the way he treats Latinos, about the way he treats, demarginalized groups, how he, first of all, if you're a Christian, you disagree completely with the way that how he's cheated on every single one of his wives with his
how
next
he's
wife,
lived his life.
how he lives his life. He's gluttonous, he's greedy, but because he says he doesn't like abortion, you're voting for him because
Oh
I
God.
hate that single issue kind of thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm personally kind of dealing with that personally myself in regards to me thinking about continuing to go to my church, because it hasn't been explicitly said, but there has been some stuff that I've seen on Facebook that causes me to be like, do I really want to go to this place that's going to vote for I love your message. I love your message about God, but I also listen to a pastor in Savannah who has said, I'm against abortion, but you also got to think about this.
Yeah.
Right? You're against abortion. All right. Be against abortion. You know what that also means? You also need to be against people not having equal rights. You need to be about education. You need to be for education. You need to be for helping the marginalized and the poor. Because guess what? When you lift those peoples up, guess what starts going down? Abortion a lot of times happens because of desperation, right?
Yeah.
It happens because of certain particular situations that people, if they weren't in those situations, abortion wouldn't be an option,
Yeah.
right?
And we're not even talking about abortion for health reasons, because that's a completely different thing too, which they're also trying to ban. But everything you said, and the lack of sex education in this country.
And that's what I meant by education.
Yeah.
You lift up certain parts of education, because when I took sex ed, I thought I was like, oh man, I'm about to see videos about vaginas, and oh my God, this, because I'm like at 8th, 9th grade. You ended up being and talking about, STDs, but that's it. You're not telling me about like, okay, what's a good way to prevent? You don't have sex, you don't get an STD. I was like, oh, okay, appreciate you. So anyway, so
I think sex ed in this country is way more about abstinence
it is.
than the actual like education part of it. Of like, these are the possible ramifications of if you have sex without a condom, if you even on the emotional side of things, like you're not mentally ready for sex, and then you embark on it. These are like the long-term ramifications. I took sex ed when I was in South Africa. I was 11 years old, right? Here they're like, oh, you can't teach that.
So
Oh,
young.
yeah, exactly. Oh, you can't. But they understood that the best way to climb, because AIDS and
I was gonna
HIV
ask,
was
is AIDS
rampant.
big in Nigeria too?
I don't know about Nigeria, but I was in South Africa at the time,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was rampant in South Africa, and they understood that you have to educate the kids about this to understand how it spreads and how to take care of themselves, and don't just demonize or stigmatize the conversation, because it's like the age old anecdote of like the Catholic schoolgirl who's been so repressed, and then finally she goes off to college, and then she's like having all the sex in the world because it's something that wasn't presented to her as like, hey, this is what it is. This is what you should understand about it. Take care of yourself. She was just like, oh, don't do it. And now,
I was just laughing right now because I think about the fact that I've had some experience where I knew of friends who were like in a relationship in high school for like 3 years. They break up and then their girlfriend has sex like a week into college, and like they were virgins through college,
yeah,
through
through
high
high
school.
school, yeah,
And he was like over here like, I waited 3 years and I got nothing, and then this girl, anyways. But you're right. It's if you want to talk about those kind of right, that one issue, there's a lot of other issues that you have to align yourself with, and then like who's really going to be, who's really, which side are you really on? Because if you agree with one person on all this, but this is that one breaking point, it becomes an issue for me. So that's kind of one of
yeah,
those where I'm in. But with Chris Pratt, I don't agree that he needs to be the platform. Like I said, Hillsong United creates great songs. They really do. They somehow managed to fit like five bridges into one song. But he's never explicitly said that, right?
no, he
But
hasn't.
the one that we were
For
talking,
them is he hasn't explicitly denied it either.